Welcome back to RBD Block Challenge. I'm Cindy Cloward, and today we are working on block number 11. It's called Square Pegs, and it's designed by Amber Johnson. This is what it looks like in our confetti cotton solids, and this is what it looks like in our expressions batiks, both bright and fun. So like always, you need to download the pattern from our website, and I've already cut out all my pieces for the block, so let's get started. Put this pattern over here. I'm going to put on my glasses, and we're going to start marking corner to corner for our half square triangles and the other blocks we're going to be working on. So it tells you to take your A squares, your B squares, your F, and your D squares. Now, if you have a Seam Sew Easy guide, you don't need to mark corner to corner. But I'm going to just mark one for you as a reminder how we do it. And just mark all your squares all at once, and then you're ready to start sewing. So to make your half square triangles, you are going to grab your C squares, and you're going to pair them with these A squares, and then you're going to grab your D squares and pair them with E squares. And you're going to do the 2 at a time method. We have a quick video for you to watch as a reminder of how we do our 2 at a time half square triangles, and I'll meet you back here once they're sewn. Okay, we've chain pieced this together. Now let's just clip our threads in between. And we're going to cut down the center part of this line. Now there's a lot of pieces in this, so we just have to make sure we're cutting accurately, we're sewing accurately, and we are trimming up to the accurate size. And it'll all come together so nicely if we do all those steps. So I am going to trim down the center. I'm just going to trim off that dog ear there and there. And just to save time, I'm just going to show me squaring up one of each of these units. And I'll do the rest off camera. So we've got those 2 units, and then you grab your pink squares. Line that up, pink and blue. Flip it over like that. It's good to go. Flip it over there. And now I'm going to take these to the pressing station. I'm going to press to the dark side for the white and blue, and I'm going to press to the pink side for the other units. And that will just come into play when we start to nest our seams. Okay, we bring it back here. We're going to square these up to 2.5 inches. That to the side. And it's very important that you don't skip this step so your block is accurate. Your little unit is accurate. Your little half square triangle is accurate. And since I've already cut off my dog ears, you just need to pull your trim up ruler to one side and then trim the other sides. Okay, those are good to go. I'm going to finish up the rest of my half square triangles, and I'll meet you back here once I've got everything squared up. Okay, that's our last one. All of our half square triangles can be put to the side, and we're ready to move to the next shape. So I'm going to put that away, And this is kind of a fun shape. It is the square in a square. It is red with a white and also a red with a pink. And to save time in filming, I'm just gonna make one of each. You're gonna grab your G squares, that's gonna be your center. And then you're gonna grab your B and your F, the smaller squares. And like I mentioned, you've already marked these corner to corner, but if you have a Seam So Easy guide, you can use that. So we have this one marked, and this one's not. And when you're doing these square into square blocks, you work on opposite sides. So it's really important to sew accurately. So you're gonna sew in this line corner to corner and not fudge it at all. Otherwise your block's gonna be off, or your little unit's gonna be off. So I'm gonna take these two little units to the machine and sew each side on. And you're just sewing right on that line, if not a hair or a thread slightly to the outside. Now this one I haven't marked, so you can use your Seam So Easy guide. You line up your needle with the corner, and then your bottom right here, you line it up with that center marked line. And that can save you a bunch of time without marking. Okay, I'm gonna just cut my thread right there like that. Make sure to line up that square. Okay, I'm gonna clip my threads, bring it back here, and just make sure you evaluate when you open it up. It makes that square, and it's not, you're not shorting yourself on that block. So it looks good to me. I'm gonna take my 1/4 inch plus ruler, just trim down to a 1/4 inch on both sides. Okay, and then after I cut off these two sides, I'm going to take it to my pressing station and press it open. It is the flip and turn method on these square into square blocks. So you just sew and flip open. So I'm going to set my seams like that, open it up. It's looking good. Let it cool underneath the clapper. Again, you can do all these units at one time. Okay, let's take it back to our cutting station, and we're going to put the last two squares on each of these units. So we're going to put that in the corner there, that in the corner there. I have that one marked, but I don't have this one marked, so I'm just going to use my Seam So Easy guide for that. Okay, let's take it to our machine and sew. Okay, let's just cut those threads, bring it back over, take a look. That's what we want to see. Now we can trim down to our 1/4 inch from our seam. All right, let's take it to our pressing station. Set our seams, and now we're going to open up that unit. That looks good to go. Let's open that up. Okay, and now we need to square them up and make sure they're 2.5 inches, just like our half square triangles. And so if your little square and a square is off a little bit at this stage, it's now a good time to evaluate why, because what you want to see is your points inside this blue line, and they're all inside. And it looks like I don't even, maybe a few threads, but I don't need to trim up at all. It should be pretty accurate. So that's good to go. And we're going to repeat that 3 other times. Now this one's ready to go. So I'm going to move this out of the way, clean up my workspace. And I've already made my other units. I'm going to bring those in. And we're ready to lay out this block. So just follow your pattern. These go in all the corners. Make sure they're facing the right way. And it's just interesting that the pattern in the pattern. I just love to see how that comes together. Now that we have everything laid out to assemble this block, I'm going to do it in rows. But this is my tip for you. I'm going to take all these outside half square triangles that were pressed to the dark side and press them to the light. That'll allow me to nest my seams. So I'm going to take it over to my pressing station and just change the direction of that. I should have mentioned it earlier, but I kind of forgot. So we're gonna do it now. We're gonna do it now. Now that we've flipped those, flip that over, we will be able to nest our seams much easier. So now we're ready to assemble our quilt block. So since we flipped that, that's going to nest beautifully there. So we're going to lay that there. Now we're going to flip this over here. And it doesn't nest on the top, but it will nest on the bottom. And that's why we flipped that to the pink side. So that nests beautifully there. And we can put a pin on top. Now these 2 units, they don't nest. You're just going to flip it over and you're going to line up that peak or that point right there, kind of eyeball it, and you are going to have some bulk right there. It's just unavoidable. So put a pin in there. You can pin your outsides if you want, but I'm going to choose not to. And then we're going to pin this. Again, that's going to nest beautifully there. Then we're going to flip that over, and it nests on the bottom like that. So let's take it to our sewing machine and let's sew. Okay, I don't cut my threads in between, and I open it up and we take a look. And this is what we want to see, is those beautiful points coming together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance from the top. So that looks really nice. And now we're going to flip that center over to the side. And I just throw a pin at the very top. And we're going to sew down all along that side right there. Okay, let's bring it back to our design board. Again, design boards are the best things to have when you are putting together all these little pieces like this. We're just moving down the next column, the next side. Open it up. It's looking good. What we want to see on these square and squares, we want to see those points right there, not cut off right at the edge. It's looking so good. Okay, since we pressed that to the white on that outside edge, it nests beautifully. Okay, let's take it back and take a look. It's coming together, you guys. There's a lot of intersections here. Now we just have 1, 2, 3, 4 more seams. And the pattern recommends the top one going one direction, underneath going the other, so we could choose what direction we want all our seams to go now. And I'm choosing not to press right now. Okay, you can do one at a time. It might be easier to do one at a time instead of pinning them all at once. Again, we're nesting our seams. Okay, let's take a look. There is some bulk on these intersections, so just ease your machine over them. This is what we want to see. We want to see those points lining up there and that kind of that square shape that's coming along. So we'll just do a seam at a time. And again, if you're sewing accurately, if you're cutting accurately, if you're squaring up accurately, should come together really nicely. Just have patience. This is not a quick make. This square is a little bit more of a challenge. Okay, we just have 2 more seams. I'm just gonna be working along and I'll meet you back here when we're all done. Okay, let's take it to the pressing station. And let's press that all out. There's a lot of bulk in the... Okay, take a look at this. You know what the last thing we need to do is square up that block. Now, hopefully, because we cut accurately, we sewed accurately, there's not much to square up. Just make sure you line all your points inside of that blue line and take a look. And it looks pretty good. Just trimming slightly off the top. I'll flip that over to the side right here. Just a little bit of trim right there. And the square pegs block is finished. This was a challenge today. I hope you were able to follow along and sew along. Again, we appreciate all your comments and your feedback, and we do look at it all. But join us next time as we work on block number 12. It's called Flip Flopped by Sandy Gervais.